Hey everybody, and welcome to Geek Freaks. I am Frank, and I'm with Squeaks.
Squeaks.
And we have a bunch of different people joining us. We're trying something new where we're doing things in segments, so you guys get a little bit of each of us in these recordings as we're all kind of staying home and staying safe. But how have you been so far? What have you been watching right now, Squeaks?
I'm doing wonderful. What I've been watching, dang, Veep. You got me on Veep, and
I'm
I
so
am
proud
watching
of you.
Veep. I am almost done with the whole series.
Yeah, boy, it's got such a depressing ending, but yeah, that's really cool.
I want to real quick about Veep because
Let's talk it out.
why not? You asked me.
Oh, yeah.
They do a good job at making me love someone like a character and then hate a character, and then there's really only one character in this series that I'm kind of like, nah. Even if she goes through like different times, which is Amy.
Yeah, she's
For
kind of just
her,
there.
I'm kind of like, she's just there, and she doesn't really have like a. She was only strong one moment, and that was when she told Selena off.
Yeah, which was
And I was
really
like,
cool
oh
moment, actually.
shit, that was good, yeah. And then other than that, she's just kind of a shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is one other character that I fully like the whole time, and that's Gary. But everybody else, I could see like there being selfish shit moments. But I think Gary's the only person who's like actually selfish.
Yeah, I like Mike too, though.
Well, yeah, Mike.
Later on, he started becoming one of my favorites.
But he's just such a dipshit on everything that is like fucking Mike.
Man, but
I love how he has like 10 kids all of a sudden. It's just like, oh shit,
yeah.
How'd this happen?
New character, Richard's kind of starting to be kind of neat too. He's funny.
Richard becomes one of my favorite characters at the end.
Yeah, he's neat.
I like rewatching the
funny.
show, paying attention to Richard more.
Yeah, he's funny.
Yeah, really cool.
Jonah ever since Jonah started running for Congress, he's been actually something that I've been paying attention to.
Yeah, they elevated his character in a way where you're like, I did continue to hate him, of course, as a person, but you're kind of rooting for him to at least beat, Sean Payton's character. And so, not Sean Payton, but Patton Oswalt's character and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, what have you been watching?
Righteous Gemstones. I just finished that.
Oh.
And now I'm on a Danny McBride kick, so I'm watching Vice Principals right now, loving that as well.
Very good.
And I think after this, I'm going to finish things up with Eastbound and Down, which I know is his big one.
Nice. Have you ever watched Eastbound and Down?
I have never watched it.
Wow.
So I'm ripping through his library and just fully in love with him. He is so talented. All right, let's go ahead and get into the news. We're going to start off with BlizzCon 2020 is proceeding according to Blizzard. On April 6th, Blizzard has announced that BlizzCon is going forward as planned and cautioned everyone that the virus can still cancel things if in November it seems to have flared back up. I'm excited about this. How are you feeling about this?
Very excited because I know we talked about before that we were nervous, like what news is this BlizzCon going to have? Can they cancel it because there's not enough going on? But at least we know that there's something going on at Blizzard to have Blizzard 2020.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite conventions to bring to all of you guys at home. So really excited for this. Here's a statement from Sarah Lynn Smith, executive producer of BlizzCon. While we're all hopeful things will look better later in the year, the bottom line is that at this point, it's too early to know whether BlizzCon 2020 will be feasible. The health of our community, employees, and everyone who helps with the show is our top consideration. It might be a few months before we know for certain if or how we'll proceed, but as soon as we have a meaningful update, we'll share it. And then they go on to say, like, ticket sales are going to still happen and stuff like that. So we have confirmation that at least we'll be able to begin the process of planning for BlizzCon, because you need to get rooms and everything like that. And that's a big extensive thing. So we have something on the horizon. And
this is awesome. Awesome that they're proceeding, because this is still far out. Yeah. So it's not like let's just jump the gun and cancel them. It's like, dude, we don't know what's going to happen in the next few months.
Exactly.
So I this is awesome that it's still something for us to at least look forward to.
Yeah. It's just so much fun, and it's for beyond the podcast. It is a place where we get to meet up with old friends and stuff like that too. So we get to see all of our old friends again and stuff. So we're big fans of BlizzCon. Okay, now planning on going. What kind of souvenir are you going to grab this year? Because, of course, part of BlizzCon is spending just as much money on the tickets as you are on souvenirs. What are you already planning on?
Frank, you already know the damage I did last BlizzCon. So
yes.
This BlizzCon, it's not going to change. It's going to be everything.
Oh, my God. You had more than the hotel room's expenses bought before we left that.
I did. I did. I did. Actually, I can't. Yeah. I can't deny it. So probably statues, since apparently... You just informed me. I already bought the fucking BlizzCon statues and didn't even realize that's what they were for. So I already have my Jaina and Sylvanas pre-ordered.
Yeah.
Which I did not know was a pre-order. Damn it, Blizzard.
Well, they do say they're for an event, and they said you won't get it till September, which is usually when they confirm the event.
Anyway. So those statues, honestly, probably something more like that. You know what I want actually is clothes this time. So they were selling some shorts, Diablo shorts that I didn't grab because I already started spending way too much money. So maybe like a pair of basketball shorts. Other than that, some little, I'm sure they'll have pops again, and then like little figure statues that we got, like the orc, and I got the Marthral from Diablo, if I'm saying that name right. What about you?
The statues are always a good investment. They look great. I might pick one of those up. I normally don't pick up a statue, but I might this time. I do normally get a hoodie. I might get another one of those. This time though, I'm definitely gonna buy a couple books and actually have them signed.
Ooh, I'm with you on that. We'll get in that line together.
Okay, that's over in the Dark Moon Fair, so I'm excited for that.
Yep.
Now, say you're interviewing. Say we get media passes and stuff like that. We're interviewing some of the people. Who from Blizzard would you like to interview, and what would you like to ask them? And I'll start us off with, I would like to interview Ian Hassakostas. He's the one that, first off, he's famous for designing the ICC raid, and now he's basically in charge of World of Warcraft. And I want to ask him, of the ICC raid, is there any fight in particular you want to remake? The game has evolved so much since those days. If there was a fight that you wanted to remake, what would you add, and how would you change it? And is that something that's feasible?
Mine was, I'm going to, from last BlizzCon, I asked this questions, but I'm going to set this guy down and be legit. I want a mother effing answer. So I don't know the guy's name, and I was at the table, but the Diablo Mobile. Okay, I know a lot of people were talking shit on this.
Diablo Immortal.
But this has been Immortal. Okay, that's the mobile name?
Yeah.
Okay, so Diablo Immortal, I know a lot of people were kind of upset because it is mobile. But at this point now, it's like, well, I kind of want to try it out. I want to play it. I mean, I played it at last BlizzCon. It was like, holy shit, this is like Diablo on my phone. Like, I didn't really feel much of a difference. So now I'm like, what is your problem that we can't have this game right now? No, he's like, literally, I asked the guy, and he was like, oh, I gotta stop changing my mind. And I literally told him, well, you should probably stop doing that. Yeah. Literally told him that. Stop changing your damn mind and get this game out. What is the issue? Like, I don't need to see a Diablo Immortal booth every BlizzCon because you guys can't get it together.
And I know I played it the year before you there, and it felt the exact same as the year after. Like, it doesn't feel like they're changing anything to the game. So just give it to us already. It's crazy.
That's even worse now.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
That's mine, because it's the for a mobile game. What this shouldn't take this long. Come on now. Yeah. I know Blizzard, you polish your games and they're all absolutely amazing, but it's a mobile game. I don't expect it to be blowing my socks off.
I'm looking forward to it. I really like Diablo 3, so I'm looking forward to just smashing some dungeons. That'd be really good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Ezra Miller. He was in Iceland. It sounds like he was on vacation over there. He was filmed choking a fan who was kind of approaching him like in this joking, like, you want to fight kind of thing. It was outside of a bar. I think everybody was kind of drunk. And so he was caught on video doing this, and then it was posted up on Twitter. After doing some research, I noticed it was actually on Reddit 4 days prior to that, but then was quickly removed. The footage is upsetting for many people. So if you're looking for this footage, it's actually on our website, but I'm going to give you a heads up. It can be considered upsetting. The woman's, coming up to him kind of like, oh, what, kind of thing like that. If you could imagine a person saying that, what that looks like. Ezra clears the bell saying, do you want to fight? Then grabs her by the neck, brings her to the ground, choking her while he continues to say, do you want to fight? She's gasping for air and trying to put up a fight against him. A voice off camera, and I believe it's the person holding the camera from what I can tell, saying, hey man, cool it or whatever. He tries to stop the fight. So this is obviously crazy. Ezra Miller, everybody knows him as Flash. He's a Flash in the DC movies. And this puts the future into commotion and what his future is as an actor in general. At this time right now, the Flash movie, I think, has him as director, if I'm not mistaken. They've gone through multiple directors and stuff like that. Yeah. And they were like, oh, we'll do Flashpoint. We won't do Flashpoint. There's all kinds of things in the air. They've had a lot of problems. And I've heard behind the scenes that Miller's hard to work with. So I'm asking you now, what do you think DC and WB's got to do about this?
Well, I want to go back to the video real quick. It's kind of hard because we don't know the girl's approaching him looks obviously jokingly.
I think so,
about fighting, and it's like how many times he's been in stupid situations like that where he doesn't mess around like that. He's like a ticking time bomb, right?
Right.
He's an actor, so I'm sure a lot of people try to question him. Or test him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying I'm defending the guy, because why are you still consistently choking just this female while she's on the ground?
Yeah.
So if WB does end up doing it, I think they will, because it's just The media is too strong, and if everybody's going to get on this wagon where we hate Ezra Miller because of this, or all this stuff is going to resurface because of a new Flash movie coming out, I think they're just going to can him. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I when I saw the footage, I thought I want this guy to never act again. I'm not gonna lie to you, I was very upset by the footage.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
outside of that, I also don't think he was that great of a Flash. So
I 100% agree with you. I think well, it's not like I was a little upset because God, Batman's name. What's his name?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Because I was like, oh, I really enjoy his Batman. But with this Flash, I never was like, no, I'm not set on him.
Yeah. So I think if you're going to be scrapping him, this is the time to do it. We also have Ben Affleck's out now, so there's going to be some big shake up in the DCEU. How do you think they can introduce a new Flash then into the DC universe?
Unfortunately, probably what they're going to do. Oh man, probably what they're just going to do with Batman. That's the thing I see. You're just going to have Ben Affleck in it. He's going to take over, and we're just going to pretend like nothing ever happened.
Well, Ben Affleck's gone, so they'll have to fix that too.
Well, kind of like what we had Christian Bale the whole time, and then we just jumped to Ben Affleck. So I feel like there was really no story to integrate those two actors. So I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Well, there's a big difference there in the fact that the Christopher Nolan Batmans with Christian Bale, that was a whole different universe and everything like that. The next Batman outside of everybody's thinking Robert Pattinson, that's actually in the past. That's not the current day Batman. Current day Batman's still considered Ben Affleck's Batman, and he works alongside Aquaman and Wonder Woman, in Shazam, characters that will be in the future. So how do you bring in a Batman who's going to be playing with characters that the past Batman was playing with? Same thing with Flash. If you bring in a new Flash, is it just like, hey Flash, you look a little different nowadays, and then they continue going, or how can we bring them together?
I feel like you just made it a lot bigger than just how to introduce a Flash, because then we don't have a Batman either. Then
that's exactly correct. Yeah.
So what is the state of DC right now? Okay, cool. We got a Wonder Woman movie coming out, but what's going to happen? Are we not going to have another Justice League?
We might not. We might not for a while until they're ready to reboot everything.
Yeah.
And I would like. I'm kind of thinking Flashpoint's a good way to bring it all back. If you just find a way where somebody goes back or Flash goes back in time, and then in that process of coming back changes everything, which is how it happened in the comic books. We could get a new Batman that way for sure.
But would you think it flopped something maybe like X-Men, because they kind of did that too? And to me, I think the X-Men movies are not very good.
Yeah, definitely the new ones weren't.
Yeah, so that would be scary. But Flashpoint is such a good story. I mean,
it really is.
Take that effect.
I want it done right, so that's kind of my side of it too. And now, who would you want to play Flash? I'm going to go with Grant Gustin. He's the one that plays him on the TV show. I think he's a perfect Flash. He doesn't play him very funny, but I think he does play that kind of wholesome, young, kind of like, I'm just here to be a nice guy kind of thing, which I really like out of a superhero. In DC's movies where everything's so dark, I think he would really do good there. He'd be like the nice guy, what Superman should be, But yeah, I know Flash kind of like jokes around a lot, so there's also that. So what do you think? Who would you want to be the next Flash?
I think that's a good pick compared to even the Ezra, just for the fact that I feel like the CW owned that he was smart in a way, but this one's like, oh, I'm super smart, but I kind of live in like a garage or whatever. I'm like kind of stupid at the same time. To me, I feel like trying to be too funny.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The comedic relief, but I was thinking only because of facial feature stuff. I like Matt Boomer, but then he plays on Doom Patrol already, or in Titans he's involved in that already. So I don't know if that'll work out unless they can just kind of be separate from the movies and then the series.
I don't know if they're connected or not.
Yeah. But I think image wise, I could see him I could really see him wear that mask and own it.
Yeah, and then would you want the next Flash to be kind of a joking around Flash, someone who's the nice guy, or someone who's like super smart? How would you like to?
Nice guy. He has to show that he's smart, obviously. Because we don't have. Well, we have Batman that controls everything, but I don't want to see a jokester. I just don't see it. Well, at least maybe Ezra just ruined it for me. But I just don't see reading the comics. I mean, he's from what I've read, he's not that much of a jokester. Yeah, in the
comic books, not too much. But then if you look at like the DC animated universe, that one's a big jokester, and that's really rung true to a lot of fans. So it's kind of like one of these things where they're like, well, the Harley Quinn universe, where that she's from that too, they wanted a jokester one, and it works really well for them. So there's always kind of that pull for it. And there are some cases where Flash is kind of kidding around a lot, but. Yeah, I like that version of Flash. The old, I like when Barry Allen's a little bit older and he's like really worried about Iris and stuff like that. I really love that version Flash myself. What we have right now, really.
So then, and then if you think about it, if you put the Justice League together, who would be your comedic relief? It probably would be Flash over
It would
everyone.
probably be Flash. It can be Green Lantern if you do John's Green Lantern. If you do,
don't tease me.
If you do the 2 Green Lanterns, which everything's saying that there's going to be the 2 Green Lanterns, you have the older one who's trying to show him how to do things, and the younger one that's kind of like, I'm cool and I'm hip kind of thing like that. Like, that would be your comedic relief guy. Think of the original Men in Black. How those two played off of each other.
So
that
you're
would
saying,
exactly be what's going on.
You're saying Jon Stewart would be the comedic relief? They can make
Jon Stewart a comedic relief. I know currently he's not.
I just don't see that. He's so straight to the point. Like, yeah. I can see Hal Jordan. I mean, well, unless you don't go too Ryan Reynolds with it.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's going to say that. Don't go too Ryan Reynolds with it.
Yeah. That's tough, yeah. Sure.
So we'll see how it goes. Well, guys, we'll keep you up to date on this.
Yeah.
It's funny how much the story, to me, it felt like it died right after the video came out. And I was like, how are people still not talking about this? But we'll follow up on this and we'll see.
Right? Yeah. It'll resurface when it gets closer to any DC project.
Right. All right, so moving on to the next thing, we have Amazon's Project Tempo is expected this year. Everybody wasn't sure with the Corona thing. And even they say, like, look, this might not happen this year. Some of the inside sources says, like, there's no way it's going to happen this year. But then they reported to New York Times that this is definitely coming this year. So everything's in the air, but currently coming this year. This new project is rumored to be much like Google Stadia or Microsoft's xCloud. Amazon is also developing 3 standalone games. One of them is called New World. It'll be an open world survival game. And the other one's going to be like this Lord of the Rings MMORPG. They're also making a TV series for Lord of the Rings. So I kind of think it's going to tie in with that,
Oh, shit. They're making a Lord of the Rings MMO?
Yeah. And it's going to be MMORPG, which I'm excited to see a new one of those coming out. A lot of people stopped making those. So, Lord of the Rings style too. That's going to be amazing.
Oh, fuck.
And all of this is going to be empowered by Twitch because they bought Twitch back in August 25th of 2014. So there's going to be all kinds of tie-ins for streamers. So the nice thing with that is that means that there's going to be probably like these loot drops, like we're going to talk about in Valorant later on in this episode. There's these loot drops and stuff like that, or beta keys and stuff. So it's going to make the hype behind this Lord of the Rings game and New World, for example, just so high that everybody's going to rush out and get this thing. It's going to be huge. All this should be able to run on Amazon's new Project Tempo streaming service. But they're worried about the coronavirus and how that's going to affect not only production, but the sales. So for an example, the Xbox boss, head Phil Spencer, he says that he expects that when the consoles are released, it'll be so bad for the industry because the economies have all slowed down. All the big economies in the world are all slowed down. People are going to have a lot less excess cash to go out and buy a new Xbox or a PlayStation 5. So he thinks that that's really going to hit him hard. So how do you think Amazon's going to do in this world with this new streaming service, new games? And we'll start with that. How do you think Amazon's going to do in the gaming industry?
Well, you got me really excited with Lord of the Rings and MMO because that's something I never heard of until right now. So it just depends what games they're going to have that we can stream. Now, this is something that I don't need a system for, right? Like I know Stadia had a controller.
You would need no system for this. There probably will be an Amazon controller at some point.
Okay. So it's something that I might try only because of the games. If not, if the games can't pull me in, it's something that I don't think will be successful. We already have an industry that are filled with 3 giants, Sony, Xbox, Nintendo. It's just so hard to get in it. I know Stadia's not officially released yet, right?
It is, and I'm actually talking about that next. Yeah.
Okay. So, cut that. So with Stadia, I feel like I have not heard shit about Stadia since the release. I just don't hear anybody being like, "Oh my god, I gotta play my." That's
Stadia how my review
game.
will go too.
So
it'll be pretty like meh.
Yeah, yeah. Like I just don't see it coming into an industry that's that huge unless you're going to be like, "Oh, we have a Lord of the Rings MMO, like RPG." Like, oh, okay, all right.
I kind of think that's how they're going to do it because they own Twitch. They're going to be pushing the streamer thing so much, and we're seeing Valorant huge right now, and it's so much of that is because of the Twitch backing. Like Twitch is really behind them. I think that'll kind of push Amazon into the forefront of this whole thing.
Yeah, could be. Shoot. Yeah, I can see that. We getting these streamers involved.
What kind of Amazon gaming tie-ins can you see? Not only with Twitch, but like say your Echo and all the different Amazon products that we all have in our houses right now. I can't even say Alexa too loud because then I'm going to have everything saying hello, Frank. So, what do you think?
I think 100% we're going to see navigation through your Alexa. Alexa, play Overwatch. I don't know what I'm just thinking something randomly. Alexa, play Overwatch. It should open Overwatch for me almost instantly, like if I was on Xbox or PlayStation, where I could just get out of one application and go to the other.
I think it'd be cool too if you would be like, Alexa, clip that when you're sitting there streaming it or something like that. Or
and it's set to like clip me like a set time.
Yeah,
before
how
that.
cool would it be if now I'm thinking something real cool here. You know how like say Destiny, you have the little robot helping you out, or there's always that little robot sidekick. Say like in Star Wars, there's that little droid helping you out the whole time. What if Alexa's the voice of that?
In Destiny, I bought that fucking Alexa thing.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. Alexa, turn on the flashlight.
Well, because they made that ghost Alexa. They made the ghost that pairs up to your Alexa. Do you remember that?
No, I didn't remember that.
Okay, so I got the ghost that was compatible with the Alexa, and it was so cool because it would you would talk to your ghost about Destiny, but it was through the Alexa, but it still had the ghost voice. But it just never worked and never connected. And I gave it a chance because it was only $10, and a lot of the reviews said this is horrible. But I was like, look, I'm going to try it. If not, it's going to be a cute little ghost. But if they could capitalize on in-game play, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, I think they're coming in right on this thing. I think they're coming in the right way on this thing. I don't think Google came in with enough. I don't think they came in with enough stuff ready to go. You know what I'm saying? If that's what I'm saying. So you have Amazon's got Twitch ready to go. Amazon's already got games in development. Google didn't really have games in development ready to launch. So there's a couple things like that.
Yeah. Does Google have, do they have their exclusive Stadia game? Do they have one?
Nothing like, there's the App Store. I mean, it's basically that. Yeah.
So what makes me want a Stadia?
It does launch instantly, which is really nice, but to me, it was very lackluster, especially for a person who has a gaming PC. Yeah. It's just not there yet. I think Microsoft xCloud is going to run much better. I have a friend who's in the beta for that, and he's loving it right now. He's playing it all on his phone, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, that's the thing is I couldn't even when we talk about Stadia, I couldn't even use it on my iPhone, so it was pretty nuts. But yeah. So we'll see how Amazon goes. Looking forward to what they can bring. I think they're going about it the right way.
Wonder if they make so you said the Lord of the Rings game that's going to be released for it, and it's going to be an exclusive. Lord of the Rings is on Amazon.
Yeah, but I don't know if it'll be exclusive. It's just that they're developing.
Oh man, if it is exclusive, that's insane. And two, that would bring a lot of people in. Two, would they make other games that would tie in maybe like other shows they make?
That would be amazing because I would like to watch The Boys, or I'd like to play in the world of The Boys.
Oh, really? And some of it's kind of simple. Like if they bring Telltale back, I mean, they could make, Universal.
A Telltale version of that Carnival Row probably be good.
Ugh, that's ugly. I would have done Castle Rock. Oh, that's Hulu. God damn, I'm getting my strings mixed up.
I feel you, man. All right, so let's talk about Stadia. The free version came out today. It's basically their official launch. It's now live. Google announced that the free version of Stadia will be live in 14 countries starting. The free version offers it's kind of like a launcher. Think of it like as a Steam, to where you're able to add things to your library. And for everybody who signs up in the first few, I think it's weeks or whatever, you get 2-month free trial to the Pro tier. And at the Pro tier, which is normally $10 a month, you get a series of free games every month. So for this month, it's Destiny 2, Grid, Guilt, SteamWorld, Dig 2, Serious Sam Collection, Spitler, and Spitling, and Thumper. Okay, and then
that's for $10 a month?
It's not bad. It really isn't bad. So like Destiny 2, which you can get free now, but is worth $60 value game. And Grid is probably about $40 right now, and it's a good game. Actually, that's the one of them I was trying out. And then if you wanted a Stadia controller, it's $70. But you could use Microsoft controllers like the Xbox or whatever, or you could use your keyboard and mouse like I was using. So it's not terrible. It's the pricing's not bad because for $10 a month, you're already spending that on a lot of things, Game Pass for us and stuff like that. It's not terrible. Now, let me go into my review of the system. I tried it out on my PC and my iPhone. So I'll start with the iPhone first. I went ahead. I was like, okay, cool. I got 5G on the iPhone. This thing should run well. I got the app, fired it up, and it does nothing. All it does is like tell you to use Chromecast. And I didn't want to get my Chromecast out of my storage. So I was like, no, I'm okay. So basically, if you have an iPhone, you can't use this thing. And I got the numbers on this because I was like, that's crazy. 185 million iPhones were sold last year. So that's 185 million iPhone users that will not be able to use a Stadia. They can use the Microsoft xCloud once that comes out. So we got that out of the way. No phone. Okay. On PC, I'm going to also clear things up. Google says you need a minimum of 25 megabytes per second. I live out in the country. I have 10 megabytes per second. So I was going to see how this works. And it wasn't great. So for Grid, which is a nice, beautiful game, it was cutting out so much that I actually had to stop playing. I couldn't even get through one race. It was just terrible speeds, terrible everything. And then I later on tried it out with Thumper. Thumper is a much less intense game, so I don't know why that would matter. You're just streaming visuals, so it really shouldn't matter how intense the game is. I'm only thinking maybe my inputs and that part needs higher speed, but otherwise there shouldn't be any difference based on graphics. But it did run much better. I felt like I could start games relatively quickly. I would say like maybe a 6-second time from selecting a game to I'm in it, which is pretty solid. I think there's a lot more to come, and I really actually want you guys to try it out. We have an article on our website right now with my full review, and it's overall pretty negative because I had a hard time playing anything. But I'd like for you guys to go ahead and try this out at some point too. We'll add it to our website's reviews, and maybe we'll get some feedback on future podcasts of what you guys think of Stadia. What do you think about that?
What is the requirements that they're asking for? Do you have
25 megabytes per second? You should be past
25. That. Okay. No, yeah, for sure. I was just curious.
Unfortunately, I'm at 10, and I'm pretty happy with my 10 because everybody around me has 1, so I'm pretty cool with that.
Oh,
I know,
man,
yeah.
Dude.
I'm the rich guy in town with my fast internet that I got hooked up.
For some reason, I always thought you did have 25, and then Daniel was telling me that he only had 10. I was like, no, I could have sworn he told me he had 25.
Yeah, I know. That's why sometimes it's like, man, guys, it's lagging tonight, and it's just not going to happen. It's because I got the funky internet, with the dishes and everything. If you guys try out Google Stadia, we'll do some future reviews on this too. We'll get everybody else's opinion on it. My personal opinion is the layout was solid for Stadia. I actually like the layout. When it was working well. I think they need to bolster the library greatly. I did feel like the library is quite limited. So I'm not going to give it a grade yet because I feel like I didn't do a sufficient enough review on it. But it's worth a try. Like I said, the first 2 months are free right now, so that's pretty amazing.
Is there anything that would pull somebody to Stadia? They ever
realistically, the 2 free months you can get a couple of $60 games for free and then try it out. And if you really like the idea of playing on your phone or playing on your tablet or something like that, or if you don't have a very gamer intensive PC, that's exactly what this is for. You don't need a graphics, maybe. Yeah, you really don't need a graphics card if you're streaming your game onto your monitor, because basically that's what your computer's doing, is just being a monitor. So it doesn't necessarily need to be super powerful to run these games. It's definitely for the more casual gamers, I think.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Squeaks, why don't you tell us about the big PS5 announcement?
All right, so we finally had, which I have an article up, some visuals on anything physical for PS5 coming out, and that was the controller. What they announced, I'll just go visually. It has a 2-tone, at least for the stock one has the white on top with the black.
I think it's black, right?
Not dark blue from the pictures. Black, yeah. What I like about the 2-tone is people are already getting creative of what they can do, what future controllers could look like after the system when you buy it. I think we could really see cool designs coming out for the controller. And that's just visually. What I like on the outside is that they changed the color lights. I don't know, whatever you call that, LED light, from the bottom to the top. And what I think is awesome about this is because there's been many games. One specifically, I remember playing Tomb Raider, and you could light a torch in the cave. And the only reason why I knew my light was going orange and red blinking was because I was kind of playing in the dark, and I was like, what is this flashing going on? And then I was like, holy shit, I'm holding a torch and the lights.
Oh, so it's like flickering like a
what
torch.
I really,
that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just a neat little that's kind of neat, whatever. And feature and then like first player, second player, red, blue, like the classic, red and blue. Now we'll see these colors on top. So that's amazing. Also on the outside, they did kind of go. I believe they went in a little bit on the triggers just to get a better feel. I guess they've been testing it with what they say, many hands, shapes and sizes, that now they feel like they have the most comfortable.
That is one thing for younger players. The Xbox controller can feel a little bulky. I'll give them that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then maybe
they're probably trying to make sure they don't follow that. Yeah,
for the Switch,
because I got the nephew and the niece, and now they're doing pretty good with it. But early on, they had a hard time holding the controller properly because it was too big for them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I wonder if that does
Yeah,
come into play, huh? They didn't really say like an age range or anything with the
yeah,
testing of the controller, but I'm interested in now if they did go some of that low. What I know so far is they're trying to bring games to make you really um, ex- what do you call it? Like express your more of an
yeah. You're
attachment to
more
yourself.
immersed.
So they really want you to feel that you're actually in the game. Exactly, more immersed in the game, immersed. So, and I've said this a couple of times, and it's obviously in the article as well, is that they want you to feel when you're pulling a bow, the tension that when you are pulling the bow, they want you to feel like if you're driving a car, the dirt on the ground of how I guess it would vibrate if you were driving it yourself. So that's neat, but we don't know how much are we really going to see with that. And of course, the third party is not going to do, which I mean, I don't want to say not going to do it. You
Right.
never know, but it'd be interesting of what the first exclusive will be when the PS5 comes out, and how they usually. Try to get the most out of those console release games when it comes to all their technology they want to put out. I remember playing Killzone. I forgot that name. It was so bad though. Killzone when it first came out with the PS4, and they were really highlighting how fast you can get in and get out of the game and in the menu. So I'm pretty interested in see what game is going to come out that will take all effects or all aspects of the controller. Um, I mean, the good thing is we get to actually see something. Now it'd be nice to see
Hmm.
a console. I wonder if the console will have a two tone to it as well. I personally like the controller. It's just something different, something more futuristic. The look of it. I'm super interested in holding it. It does look like it has like a more out the outside of it more ovalish.
It's a
So I wonder if
totally.
it will feel like an old
It feels
Xbox
like a
controller.
big change in shape from past controllers because even like if you look at like the PS1, PS2, PS3, they all generally had a
Yeah,
similar look. They
yeah,
looked familiar, and this one it feels like it's much different.
yeah. And I wonder what made them go with finally a different look to it, because it is like the same controller almost every time. Little upgrades. I mean, I personally like the PS4. I did not like the
Hmm.
PS3. So I wonder, kind of like how you're a big fan of the Xbox. If it's not really broken, why
Yeah.
change it? So I'm really interested in getting this in my hands to really get it. Be like, if I hold it, be like, oh shit, this feels a lot better than the
That
PS4.
I'd like to do that as well because that's one of the big things right now. The consoles are quite close. The fact that like one has a monster processor, the other one has a faster hard drive. So I'm really kind of really still on the fence, which is pretty unique for me. Um, I want to get my
Yeah.
hands on this controller. I haven't used a PlayStation in a while. I want to feel it and see if it's something I can adapt back into quickly. So
hmm
this controller has me interested. That's for sure. What other features do we see on this thing?
Um, the new share button is called now the create
Okay.
button. So I never really used the share button on my PlayStation. I just don't really have enough info on, because they didn't release a lot of info on the create button. They just said
It'll
that
probably
more
be
will
like the
come
clipping button, so you can make a clip out
soon.
of things, like create a clip, everything like that.
Well, yeah, that's the only thing. That's what the share button was.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they couldn't explain the
Hmm.
create button. May if it's pretty much going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. But anyway, more of that is to come with the create button. Another thing that the controller will have is a built-in microphone, so you don't need a headphone. Now, I'm not going to say you don't need, because it's more of like uh, a quick fix
Yeah.
to me. Like, okay, Frank, I'm logging in right now. Hey, I can already hear you. I'm in your party. Sweet. I explained this as well in the article that it feels like, okay, let me get my headset, let me get situated, and I'll be right
Yeah.
here. So that's when I would plug it in. Now I think it's neat, and the microphone or the voice coming out of the controller of the PS4 is really neat, and it's really clear. When you play certain games, if you're talking, I think I can't remember which game was it, but for example, you're talking on the phone in a video game, and that voice will not come out of the speaker; it will come out of
That is
the
pretty
PS4
awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
controller. Yeah. So if it sounds better than that, which they do talk about their DualSense. Okay, so if they enhance everything about the PS4 controller with their DualSense, how loud is that controller can be? Can we control the volume, and how clear can it be if I am talking to someone and I really don't have a headphone? Sony did say that it will have a normal headphone jack. Nothing fancy where you need a big clip or how all these or phones
Yeah,
nowadays are
the
switching
lightnings and stuff like that. Yeah,
different
the lightning
outputs.
cables and stuff.
Yeah, so it did. Yeah, exactly. So it did say that it was going to have a normal headphone jack.
So my big concern, I like the idea of having a microphone on the controller. I wonder if it'll noise cancel the game itself, because if I'm sitting there like streaming or whatever, and the person's watching my stream, they can hear the game's audio, and then me talking, they'll hear my audio. But if they can hear the audio coming out of my speakers, then back into the head, it'll create an echo for every game. So I wonder if there's going to be some sort of noise cancellation for the microphone, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see that. I think this is just a cool little thing to have, kind of like a throw on, a little
Yeah,
cherry on
yeah.
the cake. I just don't see it as something being like your main headset or your voice. I feel like you still
Yeah,
really
it
need a
might even
headset.
be like a gimmicky thing, like when they put it on the Nintendo DS, where you're like, okay, this game requires you to blow on it, and it was all about the microphone.
Yes. Oh my god, I totally forgot about that
Yeah.
actually. But yeah, I was blown into a DS
Yeah.
back then.
All right. So we
Could
have
be,
this
yeah.
two-tone thing, and I already got my cool design I want made, and then I found out you were telling me that there's a bunch of fans that are already doing this. So I want to say that my notes got leaked and they copied me. So I was thinking this two-tone would look cool with the Spider-Man look. So you got the blue on the bottom, the red on top, much like Spider-Man's costume. Is there any two-tone looks that you'd want to see on this controller when you buy like the customs?
Oh man, so I really like black and
Okay.
gold together. That's some of my favorite colors. If I had to do a cross reference to a game, of course I'm going to say Final
Yeah.
Fantasy. Um, but they already, because a lot of the little fan made controllers, like the Spider-Man one we saw, they made a God of War, which looks
Hmm.
beautiful. They made a Last of Us, kind of boring, but it works. Um, Maybe like a Final Fantasy one. It'd be really neat to see game themed controllers, and that's what I want to see. And I, at this point, what Xbox One that I really like about is how many different controllers they have, and it's like, dude, I want to buy all of them. I have a Titanfall and I have a Sea of Thieves one. So if PlayStation can do that, well, here's my wallet because I need all my favorite games. I need a
That Sea
controller
of
of.
Thieves controller is so beautiful too. It's probably the best looking
That's
controller I've ever
so
seen.
beautiful. Yeah, it's gorgeous, and even the little details in it, it's like holy shit.
Okay, and then what feature out of all these features that we've heard so far are you most interested in?
I'm gonna go with the microphone, even though I think it's
Mhm.
kind of
I
gimmicky,
think that's actually the one I'm looking for more
because
than
I
the other
just
two.
want to see.
Myself.
Yeah, I just want to see how well that microphone works. If it doesn't, or if
Yeah.
it does really well.
See how it goes.
So we'll see.
All right, next up we have some news from Nintendo. Game Vice is taking them to court once again. Game Vice is a company known for their wraparound controllers for iPhones and Android phones. Have you seen this before, where they kind of have these, like, basically it's you put it in between, or you put a phone in between two controllers? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so
have.
this is what this company makes. They claim that it is the original for the highly successful Nintendo Switch, and are taking Nintendo to court for patent infringements. This is Game Vice's second attempt to take Nintendo out. In 2017, they tried, and it was dismissed by the Patent Trial and Appeals Board. At first glance, there are some similarities. So, like the controllers on each side of a screen, they do detach, and the buttons are actually kind of a similar place. Like if you look at the Pro controller, they're about the same spot. But the differences are way more obvious. So they have to use your phone. So it's not like it's actually a system. They actually have to use a phone. And the way that the controllers go in on a Switch, there's rails and they click in. This actually has like a bungee type material on the back that you stretch out over your phone, and then it plugs into one side, and then it holds on the other side of your iPhone or whatever phone. And then they don't have their own games, so you have to use whatever app you want to, like, say you got the Minecraft app. Actually, one thing that's hilarious, this is a side thing, just I totally forgot to put this in the article and like that. On Game Vice's website, I was doing a lot of pouring over Game Vice's website. It showed an image of like an app store with games you can get. And they're the ones suing over copyright infringement. And I noticed not only do they have Minecraft on there, they actually had a bootlegged Minecraft on there too. So I'm like, are you serious, guys? You're pitching the fact that you could play a copyrighted version and a non-copyrighted version of a game. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So somebody in their photo department failed. But it's also clunkier and thicker, and it's not very sleek looking. So it sounds like this is going to fail. Fans are already in an uproar over Game Voice. A lot of people are vowing to never buy one of their products again. I actually, while doing research for this, I was like, I probably would have bought one of these because they're like $40 on sale right now. I probably would have bought one of these because they do seem like they would be useful for some games. But now, out of principle, I'm never going to buy from them. What do you think about this, Squeaks? Do you think these lawsuits from this company are actually hurting their image, or is it bringing more attention to them?
Honestly, at first, well, actually, what I want to say is bringing attention to them because I never even heard of this
Yeah.
thing until now. So I see that, and now I'm doing like the research on it. Like, oh, okay, this is cool. Well, I wouldn't know because I don't give a shit about mobile gaming that
Yeah.
much to buy this. Now, the thing is, if you're talking about kind of like you're talking about the Minecraft, if you were going to talk about copyright stuff, why are you look like a Switch, which you're saying that was before, but you have the buttons as an
Yes.
Xbox and the same exact colors. All you did was flip flop the colors. Like if anything, like Xbox could be suing you
Yeah.
guys for that.
Yeah.
Um, I can't take this serious. Like what the
Yeah.
hell?
That's the next question I have for you. If this is a frivolous lawsuit, then what should be the punishments back on Game Vice? Because once this thing is defeated, they'll just sue them again. They're trying to make it to where actually Nintendo can't import any video games into the United States anymore.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, because they're saying that you guys are hurting our business because people will either buy a Game Vice or a Switch. It's only between those two options, and so
you're fucking. Oh my god, you're blowing my mind right now. You are crazy, bitch. Are you going to provide me Mario Odyssey,
Smash Brothers,
Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, Smash Brothers? No, you're far from that. So sit your asses back
Racing
down
8,
because you don't do any of that. Oh my god, get the hell out of here with this. This literally like, did you make NBA 2K? Did you make Fortnite? No, you're just an attachment to my phone. So sit your asses back down.
So what should be the ramifications for that company in these frivolous cases?
To remodel their whole system.
Oh, you think that like. You think that Nintendo should be able to actually use copyright like reversal on them?
No, I think that Gameverse needs to redo their whole system.
So yeah, Nintendo will force them to basically do. I think that if they're going to sue a company like this, not only should Game Vice have to pay their legal fees, but also Nintendo's legal fees too for having pulled Nintendo into this. You know?
Okay, yeah.
There has to be something. This company is obviously just doing this for attention, and I hope it does come back on. I know on Twitter and stuff like that, there's all kinds of people that are upset about them, and that's only fair. I mean, you guys are being frivolous right now, and so it should be hurting you guys. It's a mess.
It's crazy because they don't make. You're just an attachment. You don't make games, or at least I don't see any.
No, they don't at all.
But I just don't see. Yeah, I just don't see it. That's insane. Like you don't provide the phone. If you were gonna buy me my phone with this gamepad attachment, then I can see something. But you don't.
Yeah, they're not even in the same field, in my opinion. It's like I was thinking like, oh, it's kind of like Mad Catz trying to sue Xbox, but no, because Mad Catz made stuff for the Xbox, and so that's not even. These guys are in a whole different field, so it seems so crazy to me.
It's so stupid too because you can't even provide a system that makes for all games. Right now, I have a Galaxy Note 10. Yeah, it's brand new, but you don't have an attachment for that. So, but I could go and pick up a Switch, and I don't have to worry about if I have the right system for it, as long as I have the system. I don't know. Yeah.
Speaking of Nintendo, they're also in hot water in China. So, China has just banned Animal Crossing over protests. China has a very tight grip on what their citizens can play. In 2015, they allowed a version of the Nintendo Switch into their country, but required that Tencent became a local partner. Everybody knows Tencent. They are basically a piece of every video game, especially in China. This was actually, I don't know if you remember, we actually were talking about this. This is the first time a console was allowed in the country in like decades. So that was pretty crazy when that happened.
Wow.
This version of the Switch that the Chinese citizens were allowed to use was limited by the government and only had approved Chinese games. From my understanding, there's only like 3 Mario games that you can play, and that's basically it. China will actually approve. So your Switch is very limited. It sounds like the Nintendo Switch your grandma would buy at a flea market and felt like, oh yeah, it's a Nintendo Switch, and then you read it's like Nintendo Witch. And it's like, no, this isn't right. So players have gone around this by buying standard Switches through local importers and creating foreign accounts. So they'll buy it from the guy next door that happens to get some off of a truck, and then they'll just make theirs in Australia. This is the only way that people have been playing Animal Crossing, but Animal Crossing is taking off in China. And then with the recent Hong Kong riots and the following civil unrest that's happened after that, these players have used Animal Crossing's decoration features to make their statements heard. In Animal Crossing, you can design your own images, like I made the Geek Freak shirt and stuff like that. And you can even use words and write down on the things. They've been writing things like Free Hong Kong, and then also depicting images of China's leaders, Xi Jinping, and some of their famous protesters. They then take the image, because remember on the Switch you could like post things on Twitter and Instagram. So they're doing that. They're posting all these on Twitter and Instagram and some of the social media sites that are ran by, because China has their own social media. They don't really allow the other ones. So they're posting them everywhere. China is furious. The government is furious. So now they're enforcing the ban on Animal Crossing, going after those who happen to be importers and retailers. And then the counter government officials, like the pro-democracy officials, are saying that Animal Crossing is so this is actually a quote from activist Joshua Wong. He reported this to the Wired, UK Wired actually. He says, Animal Crossing is a place without political censorship, so it is a good place to continue our fight. Even lawmakers in Hong Kong are playing this game. So the pro-democracy side are actually using Animal Crossing as a symbol of freedom. And it's just this little game that's really kind of dividing the country. China has more options available, one of them being completely shut down all imports of Switches, legal or not legal. This would hurt Nintendo because this has become a big market for them. This would force the players to use VPNs for other things. But if you're a player, like the Switch you have is the Switch you get. It would become so outlawed that it would be hard for even importers to grab them in. They haven't resorted to this yet, but it's still on the table. Sources for this, by the way, is Reuters, Times, and Technica. So what do you think about this? How could China have handled this situation differently to not get so much backlash? How do you feel? They don't necessarily have freedom of speech. So how do you think this should have been handled?
Yeah, one, it makes you feel grateful for where you are right now, because this is so stupid. Like, for China to ban a video game. One, Nintendo's probably sitting there like, what the hell, dude? We just want you to sell like
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're supposed to be farming cherry
animals. Right now. Like, yeah. What the hell is going on exactly? But to China to literally worry about the smallest little things, it's a fucking video game. If you ignored it, all of this uprising backlash that you have on your country wouldn't be there as much. It's so insane that it just blows my mind how much they lock down because of a video game. It's harmless. It's not doing anything. It's not hurting the country.
They fear it will hurt the country on their side. So while I do think this is stupid for them to do this, and I'm actually, I think it's silly for them to fight this game, and I think that they're making a mistake here doing this. And I think they have the right to protest. I'm sorry, they just do. They're just handling this all wrong. Like you said, if you had ignored this, it would have been gone. It's so crazy.
For sure, I think it's kind of insane. I would hate if I made a video game like Animal Crossing that it's used as a political thing now over there. It's like literally that's not what my intentions were. And it sucks that it's being used like that.
Nintendo's going to suffer here pretty soon.
And then on the other side,
big massive market's going to be gone.
Yeah. And then on the other side, it just shows how little you are to ban something that's so simple as a video game.
Yeah. Pretty insecure to do that. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Any other statements you want to make on this? Any other opinions on this?
No, it's kind of a shame, and
it's just a sad situation.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so that's our news. We got a bunch of reviews coming your way, guys, and then we're gonna close things up with some good news with Jonathan and some other hosts joining soon. All right, and now we're with Daniel, and Daniel's going to be reviewing Resident Evil. What do you think about the new Resident Evil game, Daniel, overall? Like, just grand total.
Grand total, I loved the game. It reminded me of playing Resident Evil 2. When I was younger, I didn't really get to play RE3 all the way. It was kind of difficult for me at the time. For some reason, I just couldn't get past certain parts of the game. I think it was like more Nemesis kept catching me. And I was young at the time, so yeah, I wasn't able to get through it too fast.
Okay. Those who are unfamiliar with Resident Evil 3 and how it's different from the others, can you break down quickly like the story generally of what's going on?
So pretty much the game starts out with you're at Raccoon City and it's infected with zombies, and you play as a main character, Jill Valentine, who was a former STARS member, and she works for the police department there at that town. And like right away, you're in the hotel room, and all of a sudden, Nemesis, this giant biological weapon that was created by Umbrella, just bursts through your wall, and you're already having a fight scene that you're running, and it was not even a fight scene, it was a cinematic run scene that you're just running away from Nemesis who's chasing you and trying to kill you the entire time.
Is he similar? There was a character kind of like that in Resident Evil 2, correct? That's constantly pursuing you?
Yeah, that was Mr. X. And that was just an enforcer that he's pretty much like an enforcer just trying to kill anybody. But Umbrella made Nemesis to... I'm not really sure why they actually made him, but he's just like a giant weapon that's impossible to stop.
Yeah, they just had fun making weapons. That makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
The objective as the character is to do what? Just to survive, or
just to escape Raccoon City? That's pretty much the main focus of the game. Is you're trying to get through this entire town to get away, and doing so, you're meeting Carlos, a mercenary that was hired by Umbrella, and his team that he joined up with.
Okay, so his crew was sent in to do what exactly then? Because you're saying there's one person who's tracking down Nemesis, but what was the whole crew doing?
It's supposed to be saving the people that were alive in the city, but he doesn't realize that he was actually working for Umbrella, and he's trying to track Nemesis, his co-worker, one of the men. He was there just to do research on Nemesis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gameplay wise, how does that compare to the past games?
Compared to the past, like PlayStation games, way better. It's over the shoulder. Graphics are amazing, but compared to Resident Evil 2, they're pretty close. I feel like the graphics they went a step down compared to RE2 Remake. Just the way you would take down zombies, the graphics in the, like, if you shoot their arms or your legs, usually there's a cool little cinematic of like blood gushing out and everything, and it just falls down to the ground. But in this game, it just explodes when you like shoot their leg, their arm. It just bursts. Like it's weird. Like you just put like a C4 on their arm.
So basically, it's less detail than to the little things.
Way less detail. A lot more hordes compared to the old to RE2. So I'm not sure if they had a downgrade on the graphics because of how many zombies they were putting in the game. They're easier to take down in this game compared to the number 2. You don't have to it doesn't take that like a whole clip just to drop a zombie. Most of the graphics are the same compared to RE2 Remake.
I was going to ask you, did they put as much time into this one? Because I know RE2 took a while to come out. Do you feel like they rushed this one?
No, honestly, I don't think they rushed it. It was really well done. It was a really well done. That was my only complaint really about the exploding parts. That was like the biggest issue with the game. I think they should have added more to the game because like while you're pretty much clearing, trying to get through Raccoon City, Nemesis in the beginning is chasing you the entire time. After you get out of the city and you start going to like the sewer and stuff, he stops chasing you. I kind of wish there was more Nemesis throughout the whole entire thing. It would have been a lot harder.
Well, in the original, was Nemesis there the whole time, or did they not stay very
was
close?
There most of the time, but like I said, I never actually got to the whole thing, and I heard a lot of people complaining about it. Like they should have had more Nemesis throughout this game.
Playtime. What are you looking at playtime? I've heard some complaints.
Oh yeah. Well, it took me like 4 hours to beat the entire story.
That's so nuts, man.
Yeah, it was disappointing, but you can't compare it to RE2 because RE2 you were able to play as Leon or Claire. In this game, you only play as Jill, and then it'll switch to like Carlos for a couple of the fight scenes, and that's it. Yeah. So you'll just go clear this part or stop these zombies from coming in. I actually go through a lab too, and then all of a sudden it pans back to Jill.
So in RE2, when you played like say Leon, was his total mission 4 hours?
No, it was a little bit less, honestly. It was probably like 3. Okay. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. But then you play as Claire, and then you'll do like part B, and you'll, because in the old games, run into Claire sometimes, and she'll like kind of help you. So in this game, they just made 2 different parts, and you get to see how everything went. RE3, they added, even in the original PlayStation game, they added this dodge mechanic in the game, which you could actually like dodge and roll away from like zombie attacks and lickers and stuff like that. In this game, they actually defined it a lot more. So when a zombie's about to attack you, if you're good at the mechanic, you can still dodge and roll out. And there's a tactical roll that you tactical roll, and then it'll lock onto the zombie's head.
So is it a targeting system basically? Is that what it is, or how does that work?
Yeah, so so if the zombie's coming at you, you'll just roll out, and then it'll do a slow motion, and then you aim, and it'll just pan to their head, and you could like shoot.
That's cool. Yeah. Is that a perk you unlocked, or is that naturally like right away?
That's naturally. That they added the dodge system in Resident Evil 3 in PlayStation, but it didn't have that mechanic. It just had the dodging mechanic. So that was pretty cool. They made the knife now a main weapon. In RE2, you would find all these knives, and then you can only use it for a couple hits or whatever, and then it'll break. And you can actually use, in RE2, you were able to use it as a defense item. So if you're about to get bit by a zombie, you could just stab them with the knife and not get bit. In this game, as a main weapon, you can't do anything of that. So once you're going to get bit, you're getting bit, which is kind of disappointing.
I like the idea that it's like, it makes it even more suspenseful in a way, though, because it's like, I just cannot get touched.
Yeah. I kind of miss that. Like I was telling Squeaks, I was like, I honestly kind of miss that whole system with you could use the knife as a defense. Yeah. In this game, I just put my knife away. I was like, there's no point in me even having it.
Oh, that's too bad then that you're not actually using a weapon.
Well, it is because I suck at the game. So if I was better, I would just knife zombies. But every time I would try to knife a zombie, I would get bit. So I didn't even bother using the knife. There's another cool little thing. While Nemesis is chasing, they added if you're able to down him, because you could down him and stun him for a couple of seconds, and then he'll get back up. He'll drop umbrella crates, and within them are special items, which is kind of a cool feature.
Got health packs and all that to help you continue fighting him.
Throughout the whole map, there are herbs that you can find, and while you're doing this, I played normal. I think it's called standard edition, standard version, whatever. You find enough ammo and find enough herbs throughout the whole game. I want to try hard mode. I want to try hard mode and see how it feels.
Because isn't Resident Evil notoriously hard on ammo?
Yeah, usually they are. Another cool thing about this game was all the cutscenes, all the boss fights were really beautifully done in this game. I loved every boss fight I did in this game.
That's cool. How many boss fights are in the game?
4 or 5, and they're all when Nemesis is starts evolving, because you just keep messing them up every single time. And it gets harder and harder. Then, and all the cutscenes are just so amazing. I really did enjoy the game. I wish it was a lot longer gameplay, but I mean, you can't just add more gameplay to a game that was made for PlayStation 1.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because the original game was very limited. Yeah. All right. So, anything else, or do you want to go ahead and give this thing a grade?
We could give this a grade.
All right. What are you thinking, man?
I'll give it a solid A.
Wow, an A. Okay.
I love the game. I was a little disappointed because of the how long it took, but again, it was a PlayStation 1 game. But they still did an amazing job on this game. Mm-hmm. I felt, honestly, they could have just made it a DLC for Resident Evil 2 or something like that, and just made it $30 or whatever, not $60. But it's still worth. If you're a Resident Evil fan, get the game. It's still fun. It's amazing. You're going to enjoy it.
Now, I've never played a Resident Evil game. Is this the one to get in on, or should I wait for a different one?
If you're going to get into one, get into Resident Evil 2. Okay, and then get Resident Evil 3.
All right. I'll have to check those out. All right. Thank you very much, Daniel. All right, we're here now with Sammy. Sammy's reviewing Valorant for us. Sammy, you got that beta key in Valorant. How'd that happen?
So literally, I just stayed on Tim the Tapman's stream for the very first day it launched. Like you could, that they were doing the drops. The first day I didn't get in, and then the next day, like right when Tim went live, I watched his stream like all day long again. And right when I turned it off at like 4:30, I ended up I turned off the stream. I was like, kind of done. And then I happened to just check my email because I didn't even see it, didn't even look at Twitch, like to even get to the notification. So I checked my email, and then it was like at like 4:15, I got the code. So like 15 minutes right before I was about to sign off, I got the code.
That's awesome. I was actually watching the same streamer, but apparently for not enough time. That's really cool. That's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the game. You've been playing the game. What do you think of the visuals so far in Valorant?
For visuals, I mean, I like the art style though, because it reminds me like Overwatch and stuff. I mean, I don't even have the best PC, and it looks pretty good.
What about spell animations? I noticed that they have like these bright green clouds and stuff like that. What do you think about that?
I like it. It's pretty cool. I like that character actually. She's really dope. I forgot her name, but
she's like number one on all their media that they keep posting is the image of her.
She seems to be like every game she's always in it. I think it's because one of her abilities is to block entranceway.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people using that to kind of force certain battles and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Speaking of gameplay, how are you liking the gameplay so far?
Gameplay wise, like shooting feels amazing. Like all the guns feel really good. My aiming is good, even though I'm terrible. Like there's some matches where my worst match was like 3-15. I was terrible.
Yeah.
But that's like I said, I'm not even a PC player either. But it's like I'm debating to upgrade my PC to be able to play this game.
That's a pretty good sign right there. Yeah.
I play just controller, so I have to get used to this keyboard and mouse. But it's definitely a fun, addicting game because I keep going back to it.
It's hard to go back once you like get stuck on keyboard and mouse. I have a hard time playing controller anymore.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Okay, so you're saying the guns feel good. Does the shooting seem very accurate? Does it seem very tight? How's bullet drop and stuff like that?
Bullet drop, everything seems tight. Like I've been watching some people stream. I actually had one guy in my game. Dude, just sniping accuracy was insane.
So Sammy, what is your favorite character, and what do they look like?
So Viper is my favorite character. She's a female with a toxin abilities. So one of her abilities is be able to create a wall of toxins. Putting up the toxins, she has you can use it up to like it has 100% starts off, and then once you use it, it starts going back down. So that's one of her abilities. It creates a toxin wall up. Her other ability is to be able to throw a grenade, which I think the grenade costs like $200, I believe. So the grenade creates like a cloud of toxins. So it's good. It's good for like laying down and throwing it, and then throw up the toxin. But if you're using that one, it drains your toxin as well. So you can't you really have to be able to manage both, putting up the wall, or if you want to use a grenade, because it does drain both. So if you're using the grenade, it does take it from if you're at 100%, it drops it down. And then there's the other ability she has, you can buy. I believe it's $100, and it's like a grenade toxin. So you just throw it, and then on the ground, it leaves toxins on the ground. I think it lasts probably like 5 seconds on the ground, and you can carry 2 of those at one time. And then the grenade, you can only carry 1 at a time. And then her ultimate, I actually really like her ultimate. It creates like a really large, so it's good if you're going for a plant. If you're planting, and then it creates a really large bubble of toxins, and it makes it really hard for the enemy to see.
So it sounds like her abilities have some sort of like poisoning effects that does damage over time. Do you feel like her abilities are more geared towards damage or support? Because it feels like there's some support in there too.
Mostly damage with some support, because if you can lay down that grenade, it creates the cloud and it's really hard to see. And then if you throw down the other ability that she has, if you throw that on the ground, it makes it hard for the other opposing team to walk through.
And do they already have skins available, or is that not available yet?
They do have the store open with not for skins for like the actual characters. I haven't seen any pop up, but store for guns. You can purchase guns. Right now they have like a Rebirth collection up, which is 4 skins for the guns. It costs 5,325. I wanted to say it costs around $50 for those 4 skins.
Wow, that is pricey. That's far more expensive than it is for League of Legends. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know if the game's launching free or is it going to be a pay to play?
Yes, it is a free to play game.
All right, so at this point, Sammy, let's go ahead and give this thing a grade. What would you grade this game?
Right now, I would grade it a B plus.
B plus. That's not bad.
One thing, I don't know if they'll change this setting or not. Late games like for unranked, like because they only have unranked right now. If you're trying to play like quick, like you only have like 15 minutes, you can't do it because the matches they can last for a little while. They probably last about a half hour, maybe a little longer, because you have to get to 13 rounds to win a match. So if they cut that down, maybe if they cut it down to getting down to like 8 would be nice if they're unranked. And then if you go to ranked, keep it as it is. Because I think ranked games should stay around that win total, getting 13 round wins. But if you're trying to I just want to go in, play real quick, and then bounce out because I have stuff to do, they need to fix that. Because if I just want to hop in and not spend all my time. But that's like one of the critiques I have.
Well, that does feel, it's funny because that feels long, but it feels about the same time as a League of Legends match is what Riot's known for. All right, well, I'll have to check that out once we get access into that game. Do you know when it's coming out for everybody? Or
they haven't, I don't believe they said. I think they said summer, but I don't know if they're going to do an open beta or not.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Sammy, and giving us the details on Valorant. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, everyone, we are now joined by Jonathan. We're going to be talking about the new streaming service, Quibi. Jonathan, have you heard of Quibi?
You've told me about it, but I haven't heard it from anyone else.
Okay. So this is a new streaming service that is for your phone only, and it basically has 2 main features. There's going to be a new episode released every day for one of their shows, and every episode is under 10 minutes long. So pretty unique, right? Under 10 minutes long. That's kind of the biggie that it's eye-catching. Mm-hmm. And it only has original content. They're very high quality productions, so it doesn't feel like it's cheap at all. It actually feels pretty good. They are designed specifically for your smartphone, and they have a big variety of genres. So you have your crime shows, your comedies. There's a baking show I really like on there, and stuff like that. So it feels like Netflix in the fact that it has a bunch of everything. Mm-hmm. Again, it's only available for your phone, so you actually have to use an app to watch everything. And it comes with a 3-month free trial, and after that, it's $5 a month. So far, they have 23 shows and 18 daily essentials, which is kind of like ESPN or news or whatever. They have all kinds of news ones. Mm-hmm. My favorite feature so far is this thing where it's going to be full screen, whether you have it in landscape or portrait. So, like think of like if you're watching an iPhone video or iPhone video,
a YouTube
video. Yeah. If you have it in landscape, you see it in full screen like you would like on a computer monitor, full screen. But if you turn your phone portrait, it makes it real small and cropped on the top and bottom. This actually changes the video to where it zooms up onto whoever's talking. And I kept toying with this feature to see like how it's figuring out who to point to right now. Mm-hmm. And it very rarely would have 2 people in the shot. Normally it's just one person. If they're standing next to each other, it'll bounce back and forth. There were certain scenes like in this cooking show where it would actually put them side by side but on top of each other with some like themed line dividing the two. Mm-hmm. For the cooking show, it was like a lot of 90s splash art. So that would be in between the two, stuff like that. But they get really creative. That has to take a lot of extra effort to edit around that, you know?
Yeah, that sounds like it was. I mean, obviously designed for the phones, but that's smart. I'm surprised we haven't gotten to that sooner, really.
Yeah, I like to see more content. I think no matter what, I want to see something more out of that going forward. If Quibi doesn't work out, I'd like to see somebody else try that out.
Yeah, that sounds like, I mean, just the concept, the way all the next generation is, you know, everything's on the phone. All of our news is from, you know, YouTube and podcasts and different streamers and stuff like that. So you don't need the landscape perspective of a TV or the confines of a TV anymore. So I think this is going to be like the next Netflix, where it just kind of breaks the mold and starts a new era of entertainment.
Yeah. It's definitely a cool feature, and it opens up like different ways of shooting certain scenes. Right now, they're pretty standard in fact that like they're focusing on just one person, but could there be a situation where maybe you're seeing more of the skybox above a person, so that it kind of gives you a different feel? So I'm excited to see what they can do with this. It'll be pretty interesting. So far, there are 3 shows that I enjoy the most. We'll go over what those 3 are. One is called Dishmantled, Flipped, and Punked. Now, Punked you guys probably already recognize, but let's go ahead and we'll dive into that one first. This is a reboot of the old Ashton Kutcher show. Jonathan, we've watched this when we were kids, right? Old Punks?
Been a while.
Yeah, right. Well, Chance the Rapper is now back for this one. He's the one that's hosting it. And one thing I like is instead of just punking random celebrities, he's trying to specifically punk celebrities that he's friends with. So it adds like another layer to it because he's like, oh, she hates this and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. The smaller format, so each video is like 7 minutes. Each of these punked episodes are only 7 minutes long. It works so much better than the actual series. When you had to fill 30 minutes of multiple punks or whatever, it's just boom, snap, you're right into it. Really works well. I watched an interview with Chance the Rapper, and it kind of made me laugh because he's like, oh yeah, I grew up on Punked. I'm like, man, Punked doesn't feel like it's that long ago for somebody to grow up on it. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of blew me away a little bit. Flipped is really cool because it's actually got Caitlin Olsen, which is Dee from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and Will Forte from all kinds of cool stuff, Last Man on Earth and SNL. They are 2 kind of wannabe like TLC home improvement people, Flip This House, or what's the one with like the 2 twin brothers and
Property Brothers.
I know you guys watch them, so I was checking with the
or Chip and Gain on Chip and Joanna Gain.
Look at you know the last names too.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of their show, but it's like an awesome show.
Yeah. So they always watch those every day, and there's going to be this contest to try to get the next like TLC personality on there. So they're like, okay, we're going to go full bore on this thing. They buy a really terrible house for like a couple $1,000, and they're like, this is perfect. Let's start doing the demolition phase and stuff like that. And they start going into it. When they're demolishing a wall, they come across just stacks on stacks of cash. And so like, oh my God, instead of using this just like, we don't need to make a TV show, like, no, now we're going high production. So now they have the crew out there, they're in the director's chair, spending just all kinds of money on this old crappy house. And then of course, that money belonged to somebody, and it was like this mob, or this like whatever cartel. So they're knocking on the door, and they have them hostages, and it's really cute because this is like the 4th episode in already. Now the story I told you already is already 4 episodes. But the mob boss who's played by the roommate, Alana Glazer's roommate in in Broad City. So if you kind of recognize him. Oh, anyways, so yeah. And while they're sitting there like about to like torture them and stuff like that, they're like, wait, where did you get this water fountain from? I really like this water fountain. So it's kind of like, it's got a really good vibe to it. It feels a little bit like it's got that a little Always Sunny in Philadelphia vibe to it all. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that Extreme Home Makeover episode of Always Sunny. Like it sounds like it's got that same kind of feel.
A little bit to it. They're definitely the way that they were just like, well, you see them doing this on the show, obviously. Yeah.
But we're just gonna burn down this part of the wall. The rest of the house will be okay. We're gonna make a perimeter. It'll be fine.
The perimeter. Oh, and then the jean shorts too.
Yeah.
Oh god. But yeah, so I just explained 4 episodes. So if you think of like every breakpoint was where they're living their lives and they decide, let's go become hosts. That's episode 1. Then like, hey, let's find this house and start fixing it up. We found the cache 2. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of breaks down into these different. Every story plot becomes a new episode. And so, that's pretty cool. And then the last one I really like is called Dishmantled. It has Titus from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, heck yeah.
He's the host of this cooking show. And it's 7 minutes. It's like a perfect format for these. They say under 10, but it feels like everything's 7. These 2 contestants, and he always has like 2 celebrity co-hosts, each a different one each episode. But 2 contestants stand in this chamber. They get shot with a food cannon with some sort of dish inside. They have like 30 minutes. You can taste as much as you want while you're in there. So the longer you sit there and taste around the food that's in there, the less time you have to cook. You taste the food and then you try to recreate whatever dish was just shot at you. It's fun, it's wacky, it's a mess, and I really like it. And then 7 minutes, it's like the perfect length because action happens, you cook, judged, done. I think it's perfect.
That's pretty cool.
So the pros to Quibi is that it's very well made, and the shorter videos I'm finding to be like perfect for my lifestyle because sometimes you just want to watch one real quick. I don't want to sit there like binge watch a bunch of things, so it really fits well for that.
Mm-hmm.
The cons is, in the end of the day, I feel like this is just really good quality YouTube videos. You know, YouTube videos already kind of have that shorter format usually. And so I'm not sure if Quibi will do well because it's basically YouTube videos with a monthly subscription of $5 a month.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about that, John?
So I'm super excited, super interested to see this play out because, like I was saying earlier, it seems like it's a game changer. Everybody's watching short clips now, YouTube videos and, you know, Vines and stuff like that. TikTok, like, you know, I just got into that. It's insane. I could just spend hours swiping in it.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if, you know, we know it'll resonate with like the younger generation now, probably, but will it hook them enough? Because that's one thing about TikTok is just endless, mind-numbing content. You just keep swiping. If they have, you know, 20 or 30 shows, you know, each have, 10 or 20 episodes, whatever, will that be enough to keep people's interest? And, you know, they're short segments, which is great, but I wonder if people want a deep, you know, a deep storyline with character development and a thick, heavy plot. Will they be able to get that from this too, or is that something they just got to go somewhere else for? Will we eventually have, you know, since we don't have the confines of a traditional TV series because streaming got rid of a lot of what we knew as advertising and how the TV shows had to be aired and marketed and all that stuff. You don't have to sit in a 30-minute window or an hour-long window. So could we have like a really cool, you know, 4-hour movie made up, or, you know, are we going to see hour-long episodes in a new show that they provide too, or hour and a half, or is it just going to continue to be only really small segments, really small shows, or will they be small but able to combine together in a flawless story that could, you know, feel like a Game of Thrones, but you got it a 7-minute bit at a time?
Yeah, and it's a little tricky because I haven't watched any of like the crime dramas, which seem like they're kind of like mimicking the CBS kind of shows, you know. I haven't watched any of those yet. I need to watch those next to kind of get a feel for those. I'm interested to see what changing the time frame, how that works for storyline. Like, for example, on Netflix, they're doing this now where they're kind of doing these little mini series where we had Self-Made was only 4 episodes long. We had I'm Not Okay With This. It was like 8 episodes long, but they're really 20-minute episodes, real short. So, and I can't help but say I really enjoyed those shows because I was in and out and done. Yeah. And it was really nice. And me and Daniel were just talking about how, like, I'm Not Okay With This was a great show because I spent maybe 2 hours, which was only one season, was in 2 hours, and you're done. And it was like, oh, I got a good story out of that. I can't wait for next season when it's another maybe 2.5 hours, and I'm done. And it's kind of nice to be able to break it up like that. Don't get me wrong, Breaking Bad, I can sink into an hour of television like that, you know, easily.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's kind of like a good mix. I'm interested to see where they go with this.
Yeah, I like they're trying something different, that they're changing what we're used to.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's Quibi. Again, you guys can get 3 months for free, so check it out. Again, I suggest Dismantled, Flipped, and Punked. Punked is a classic. It was just really good. The first one was they had this famous actress or rapper, and they pretended like her dog was lost, and they pulled up to this truck that had like a gorilla in a cage. It was a man in a suit, but a gorilla in a cage. And then the gorilla gets out and starts shaking. She's freaking out. And, oh my God. And some guy like tried to get into their SUV. She's like, no, she's not going to do it. But I was like, each man for himself. Oh, it was a lot of fun. So it's excited to see what else we have there.
Do you think, sorry, just to go back to it real quick, do you think other services like HBO or Netflix or anybody will try to adopt that and do shorter episodes because of that?
I think Netflix is in the midst of doing that now. I think they are. With a couple of the last shows that came out, they were really weird formats. I can see that happening with Netflix for sure.
Okay, that'd be cool.
Because they're strictly streaming. So even HBO, while they do have some streaming exclusives, they're generally still trying to push their, you know, paid subscription on your DirecTV or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Next up, Jonathan and I are going to be going over some good news in the world. This is how we're trying to finish every episode right now until life gets back to normal. We had some really good stories, John. What did you think of this week's stories?
Yeah, they're pretty awesome. It's nice to hear these good stories because, of course, everybody's in a tough situation right now with the coronavirus and everything. But you don't hear about this stuff on the regular news, at least not very much of it. So was this goodnewsnetwork.org. Pretty awesome that they're putting this stuff out there for us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, goodnewsnetwork.org. And then Jim Halpert's John Krasinski's new YouTube channel. He's the one that kind of caught me onto this. So check those out. So I'll start us off and then we'll go back and forth. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start with just generally, pollution is so far down around the world. It's awesome to see these beautiful images of like India, the Himalayan mountains. You can see the mountaintops right now, which you haven't been able to see the mountaintops in years. The air is cleaned up. In 30 years, those mountaintops were not seen. Fish have returned to the Venetian canals, which were muddy because it's actually their throwaway. That's how they travel back and forth. Now it's all clear with fish back in it. Los Angeles skies. Y'all knew me. We traveled to LA. You get over the grapevine, and then you just see that smog layer, right? Mm-hmm. Crystal clear skies, blue and sunny right now, which I never would have thought I'd see that in LA. It's crazy. Yeah. So we're getting a lot of shots from LA right now where everybody's taking these pictures of just like, man, it's beautiful outside. Like, yeah, that's what we get up here a little bit, you know? And then like China's smog you were able to see it from space, and now it's clear over the country. You cannot see any smog from space anymore. So it kind of makes me think, like, should we spend 2 weeks a year just kind of shutting down all these countries just to kind of let the planet reset a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, this did just overlap Earth Day, didn't it? Didn't we just pass that?
I think it did, actually, yeah.
Yeah, we might want to make this like a national holiday. Every year we spend, 2 weeks or a month off of work and 2 weeks quarantine at home, and then give us, more time off and help our planet recover.
Yeah, and it's probably better for our immune systems too, or whatever. You know how like Dr. Fauci's saying, like, don't shake hands for the next 18 months, if ever. Yeah. And so I bet this would kind of help all of our systems too, like through flu season and everything like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's just really neat to see, and I can't wait to see what kind of studies come out of this. We've always had all these climate change studies and stuff like that. Now we have 2 weeks of seeing what less impact on the planet does. So I can't wait to see what all that kind of brings out. That's gonna be really interesting. Good reads.
Yeah, for sure. All right, what we got next? This is young man TJ Kim learning to fly. Now, let me ask you a question. If you were a 16-year-old boy learning to fly, what would you do? Especially if you didn't know about the story already.
I would probably play a flying simulator video game, maybe Star Fox.
Oh, that's boring. I always thought it'd be awesome to fly, like legit fly a plane, but I would just, go back and forth. At 16,
though, that's definitely not what's on my plan. I was just trying to not do homework.
I'd be flying upside down over the high school just so all the girls could see, but that's about it.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Use it to get attention or something like that. But no, so this 16-year-old boy, TJ Kim, he doesn't have his driver's license yet, but he is taking classes to learn how to fly. And when he first signed up, he talked to an instructor and said, hey, I want to learn how to fly, but I want to make, good use out of our training sessions or whatever, however you call it, lessons. So he's been with his instructor delivering medical supplies to rural hospitals across their state. So yeah, that's pretty. I mean, like, you just hop in a plane. You're doing your practice runs anyways. You're going back and forth, and so yeah, that's pretty fantastic. You might as well take a load somewhere, and he's just allowing this to be an opportunity to help others. So it's pretty fantastic. And I don't know where they get the medical supplies from. I'm sure it's just, them volunteering the transportation from one place to another. But
I think like there's going to be like a big city in every state, right? At least one. Yeah. They're probably, just like, hey, here's a bunch of face masks, and it's really hard for us to drive out, 3-4 hours over to a certain country town. Mm-hmm. Let me swing by with a plane, So yeah. That's pretty awesome. That's really cool. What an inspirational kid. Like, man, at 16, I was not focused like he is. That's really cool.
Right.
All right, so we have some giant pandas. So after 13 years, these pandas have never been breeding, right? They're really pretty bad about it. They're the two famous pandas from China, Li Li and Yan Ying. Sorry. So these pandas haven't been breeding at all. And now with social distancing and the zoos have been empty, they have some freaking privacy, so they can go to town. And so having the first breeding in 13 years. Mating season for a female panda is 24 to 72 hours per year. I mean,
that's crazy.
Talk about a window. If you got jury duty or something like that and you screw that up, oh my God, no chance. And they have like a very little libido as it is. So really pandas just, they don't care. But now that nobody's sitting there watching them the whole time, they're okay. They feel free to go ahead and breed. So this is actually really good for the panda population. The zookeepers are starting to use this as a way to learn new things about pandas. And like, hey, maybe if we were to actually isolate them during this, 72-hour window, we'd have a better chance. Because currently they put him in a pen and they watch, like, come on, baby, breed, and now they're like, let's just give him some space. This might work out really well. So there's all kinds of things we're learning new about pandas, and this could lead to revelation for their species and in a way to save them. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Honestly, maybe if we just release them back to their natural habitat, but, keep a crew nearby to help protect them from predators or something like that, because they're so rare, maybe they would be able to continue to breed.
That's true. Yeah, maybe there's something they could do with that. That's a good idea.
But I know it's too risky to just throw them out in the jungle and hope they survive, kind of thing.
Some dude's going to want a panda hat. Mess everything up.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem there.
All right, what's our next one, Jonathan?
All right, so we got this guy, Alan Marshall, who took out his savings, assuming his life savings, and stood out on the street corner in front of a gas station and holding a sign saying that he has free gas for nurses. And so he just took all his money, everything he's got, and just started filling up nurses' gas tanks. And I think it was in Milwaukee. Is it Milwaukee?
That's really cool.
But isn't that freaking awesome? Like, the nurses are out there. They're really in the thick of it. I mean, everybody has some, downside to this, I'm sure. A lot of people are just, bored, stuck at home, or, stuck at home with their family that's driving them nuts or whatever. Those are the lucky ones. Unlucky ones are out there sick right now, potentially dying or already dead. And then there's the people who are just fighting through it, that are, having to confront these people every day who have this virus, and they're trying to help them and heal them and get them better and keep it from spreading. And they're putting themselves and their families at risk every day. So I think that's awesome to see people doing this. I know we've heard other stories before too, of people just giving whatever they could to help support the nurses and doctors. I think we all should. Anything we can do to help support them right now, they're supporting us. They're keeping our friends and family alive and trying to prevent this from spreading more.
And it's cool because it's just some dude that had some money in the savings that said, like, let me go hold a sign and do this. Yeah. And, it's cool because we see, like, Starbucks is giving out free coffees. And yet, even on the other spectrum, you just have a guy who has a few $100 in the savings account and filling up gas tanks. So it's cool to see everybody's pitching in. That's pretty awesome. And afterwards,
because at first he had the sign saying free gas for nurses. Afterwards, he still just goes out on the corner because it's, I believe, across the street from the hospital, and holds a sign saying thank you for all you do. So it's like, just to, even if you don't have money to throw at them, just showing them you appreciate what they're going through. Because imagine the mental stress they all must be, and emotional, going through right now. Just a kind word, I'm sure, would help make somebody's day.
Most of these nurses, they can't go back home. Their family's in isolation, so they can't go home. They go to a hotel. Yeah. Just a little bit of niceness like this is what we need right now.
Yeah.
All right, next up, Matthew McConaughey's cheering up this old folks' home. Is pretty awesome. It's called The Enclave at Round Rock Senior Living Center. And they're all quarantined in individual bedrooms. So it's really rough for them. And, of course, senior citizens are at most risk, so we really have to be very careful. McConaughey's doing his part. He's holding live bingo over Zoom. And if you win the bingo, you get to ask him a personal question. So it's kind of this cool little thing where everybody in this center sitting there playing bingo with him, and he and his family are sitting down the other side of it, pulling the numbers, and they're like, "Oh, we have a bingo. Let's show up your card," and they show their card and stuff like that. And then they ask him, like, what was it like to work on, or whatever, random McConaughey questions, and he's just being super cool about this. This retirement home has actually asked for him to come by and visit sometime. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I will." Well, now that he has the free time, he's like, "Let me try to do as much good things as possible." This has inspired other famous people to do these. There's been over 100,000 views on different bingo streams now, people helping each other out. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of started this new thing, this new social media virtual bingo thing. I really like that. That's a cool way to keep everybody entertained.
Yeah, and that's awesome to see celebrities out there. I mean, there's plenty of people out, doing nice things and stuff, but it's cool to see the celebrities that have so much influence, that have such an impression on people, to show that when the world especially is in time of need, or any time in your life, you can go the extra mile to just help the people around you and cheer people up. So that's awesome to see them be selfless and influence hopefully the next generations to do the same.
Yeah, real classy move.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so Twitter founder Jack Dorsey just pledged $1 billion, which I guess is 28% of his net worth, which is a big chunk, over a fourth of what he's worth, to COVID-19 relief efforts. What's cool about this is he's not just, hey, I'm going to write a check. It's going to, or not just saying it on the news kind of thing. Hey guys, guess what? I'm giving away all this money. Because sometimes that just falls between the cracks and like, oh great, we give him a round of applause, or, we assume it's all going to be used right, but secretly it's going to, Apple or some big corporation or something like that, right?
And a lot of money goes to running the foundation and not so much helping the people that it's supposed to be helping. Yeah.
Yeah. So to I don't know, avoid that kind of suspicion, or just to be completely transparent, he's going to have it all tracked, all of the donations transactions. There you go. Will be documented and tracked on a public Google document. So
yeah, you could actually look that Google document up too. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, so every bit of that $1 billion that he's donating to help with the COVID relief funds is going to be public record, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty awesome.
28% of his net worth. That is crazy.
Yeah,
that's so much. When you think of it's so awesome that we have some other billionaires like Bezos and Zuckerberg giving anything. They gave, so much money, whatever, but it was like 0.5% of their net worth, which is still great that they gave something. But 28% of your net worth, that's going to hit your taxes. That's huge. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's when you're giving, 10 billion, but you don't even see it on your statement, it doesn't affect you personally. It doesn't matter. It's okay. I was going to give that amount throughout the year in charitable donations anyway, so I might as well just direct it in one spot and look good. But no, when you're giving more than a quarter of your value, that's huge. I mean, could cripple him afterwards, I imagine, if it takes a lot of money to run Twitter. So hopefully it helps bring up Twitter, and if he's going to continue to be so charitable, then help him continue to profit from it, I guess.
Yeah, I prefer Twitter, so I was happy with this. So that's good from my end. Next up, in our last one. Tyler Perry brings good news throughout the year. During Christmas and stuff like that, he's always doing really awesome things for his neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And he just stepped up again in a huge way. Currently, if you're a senior in a lot of local towns, you can go from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. to shop with just other senior citizens. This gives them a reduced chance of catching anything, and a way to kind of socialize with some other senior citizens that are going through this situation with them. So Tyler Perry, in New Orleans, Atlanta, and some other smaller towns, he paid for all the groceries in 73 supermarkets for every senior citizen during those senior hours.
That's just amazing. That's crazy.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So it's thousands of elderly citizens he helped. What's really cool, just to throw even more awesomeness on all this, he was an unidentified guru. He didn't identify himself. He was anonymous this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And he called himself, let me see. They said that the groceries were paid by the Atlanta Angel. That was kind of his nickname he gave himself while doing this.
Yeah.
And 44 Kroger's, which is like Ralph's for us. Mm-hmm. And 29 Winn-Dixie's, which is, an East Coast one. And one of the managers of the stores said, it was Tyler Perry doing all this. Just such a cool move. And then that manager was super grateful, because it was also very uplifting to these workers that are working really hard hours and everything like that, trying to make sure that we all have our food. So it's kind of a double bonus. Here you're helping out all the senior citizens, and you're uplifting the people that get to tell these senior citizens, food's on us. Yeah. So it's just really cool, Yeah. Just class act all around.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I hate to dig into it too much, but I'm wondering how the logistics work. Do they? I don't know how you manage that. That's a lot, though. 73 stores that, probably got told that morning or at some point, hey, just all the seniors are going to be covered. So just ring them up like normal, but put in this code or something like that to make it go on a separate account. But
maybe the manager was given, maybe he had a credit card for this event, and then each manager was given that credit card number. It's so hard to tell. Yeah. You're almost better off having 73 people that work for Tyler Perry going out and doing this.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I mean, it's probably a bigger thing they could do at a corporate level, is why they did it from two specific chains.
That's a good point. Yeah. Maybe he actually, that's actually probably right. He actually called the Winn-Dixie and the Kroger, headquarters and hey, I want Atlanta paid for and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to be it for us this week. We had a lot of different jumping around, different guests and hosts and whatever. So thank you guys for being so patient with us as we kind of deal with hanging out at the houses. Again, we have this stream going on where we're going to be kind of streaming and asking each other questions and kind of impromptu podcast. So join us most nights. We're streaming out while we're playing whatever game possible. And we'll talk to you guys next week. All right, see you guys later.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Geek Freaks podcast. You can find us on Twitter at Geek Freaks Pod. We're also on Facebook, Instagram. You can email us. We have our Patreon and a store. All those links are in the description. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.